Hello folks, Everchanger here, and welcome back to more Pokemon Blaze Black 2. Last time we completed our Pokedex after a little over 11 months of work. Oh boy, it was definitely deserved. And this time we are going to be doing just one last little video right here, where we're going to be talking about everything that I am not going to be covering in the main series. First off, we're here on the title screen, and it is very bizarre to be commentating with absolutely no background music. I'm going to be just talking about what I'm skipping, but I'm not going to be explaining it in too great detail, although I will put some links in the description for some information if you would like to get more. First off, we have Mystery Gift right here, which is basically a feature which allows you to get items from external events. Since we're on an emulator, really can't do that. That's probably going to be a theme with a lot of these features. Under the Unova link, there are difficulty modes, which I never actually activated. Basically, they can either make the game easier or harder, change the AI level, stuff like that. Battle competition, game sync settings, Nintendo Wi-Fi connection settings, these all involve Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, which is defunct, and therefore these features are just not going to work, period. And of course there's a mic test right here, which I've never actually tried to use, but it's definitely there for you. One thing that's definitely worth noting is in the Unova link, there is something called the memory link, which allows you to link your Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 save to a save from the original Black and White. I'm not entirely certain how one goes about getting this to work in this hack. I think it's possible, but it requires a lot of hoops to jump through. Basically, once you link your save, there will be references in your game to the player character from the previous adventure, and there will also be N's Pokemon that will spawn all around the map. They're special Pokemon that basically glow green a little bit when they show up, and as far as I know, these have not been changed at all in terms of their stats or how they function in Blaze Black 2, so I'm not going to go over it in too great detail. One thing that also occurs is that you can have one-time battles with Bianca on Route 1 and Chiren on Route 5, and those battles will use teams that are in reference to their teams in the original Black and White, which I think is really, really cool. Anyway, with that, I'm going to put their teams on screen right now, and then I'm going to head on into the game itself to talk about some more stuff that we are going to be skipping or just briefly going over. Okay, heading into the Pledge Grove behind Flockacy Town, I have brought with me the 4 Swords of Justice. Now, I don't think you need a Fateful Encounter Keldeo in order to do this little event that happens right up here. Or maybe you do. Well, anyway, what happens in the main game, I guess you do require a Fateful Encounter Keldeo for this. If you bring Keldeo with Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion right here, you will be able to teach Keldeo a move called Secret Sword, which is basically a more powerful version of Sacred Sword, and it will also allow Keldeo to transform into its Resolute form. Unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to work without a Fateful Encounter Keldeo, which means you might have to do a little bit of trickery to get it to work in this hack, which is unfortunate, but them's the ropes when it comes to these types of things. Alrighty, next up is Pokestar Studios. I think I might have indicated early on in the series that I was considering actually showing this feature, but honestly, I really don't think I plan on doing it just because it's exactly the same as it is in Black and White 2. Basically what you do is you can come in here with either rental Pokemon or Pokemon of your own and make and screen movies, and if you fulfill certain conditions, you can actually make your Pokemon into superstars, and when you do that, you can actually send them out into battle, and they'll have like a little star animation, which is really, really neat. There's a lot of really neat facets about this feature itself. I believe you get a statue right up here or something like that if you complete all of the films, which is a really neat little feature. But once again, it's identical to Black and White 2, and honestly, I feel like we'd be dragging things out significantly if we tried to do this, because it's mainly just following a script, and I feel like it wouldn't make for very good video content. So I'm just mainly here to point out that it's here, and it is something that I am acknowledging that we are not going to be covering. Alrighty, next up I'm going to make a brief mention about the medal rally. I've been periodically collecting medals throughout the LP, but I in no way ever planned on getting them all, and in fact, since Wi-Fi connection is now defunct, it is impossible for me to get them all. I'm just pointing out that the medal rally is also a feature that you can take part in, but it is not completable without Wi-Fi connection. At the end of this episode, I'm going to be returning to the Pokemon Center one last time to see if we've qualified for any other medals, but this will be the last time we obtain medals in the LP. In addition to this area in this building, if we go up a floor, there is also this room right here, and I'm basically up here to talk about the Dream World, which is one of the really neat features under Game Sync on the main menu. Basically what you could do back when the Dream World was a thing is you could send your Pokemon to a website and you could play mini-games and transfer stuff into your own game and things like that. Unfortunately, with the release of Pokemon X and Y, the Dream World is defunct, and with the upcoming release of Pokemon Sun and Moon, it is going to be doubly so defunct. So unfortunately, it's not something that we can really do anymore in the game. It's just something I felt like pointing out right here in the LP, right at the end. Also here in Castiglia City, you can bring a Fateful Encounter Meloetta to this area, and you will be able to teach it a new move, the Relic Song, which when used will transform it into its pirouette form. Unfortunately, I highly doubt this is going to work since my Meloetta is not Fateful Encounter. A beautiful melody makes people happy. A sad melody makes people sorrowful. That's the power of melodies. Indeed, defunct in this hack unless you have some trickery up your sleeve, which I guess is unfortunate, but maybe it's just a technical limitation of what you can do with Generation 5 hacking. Also here in Castiglia City is this area, which is called the Prime Pier. What you can do here is, once you have made an international trade on the global trade station, you can take this boat to a place called Unity Tower. Now, unfortunately, since Wi-Fi is defunct, this area is no longer accessible, even in legitimate copies of the game. Basically what you could do in this area is it would basically be a little meeting place where you could talk to NPC representations of international people you've traded with, which I think is really, really neat, but unfortunately, again, not accessible in this game anymore. Next up, I would like to briefly mention Join Avenue, because once again, this is one of those features that we could definitely get involved in and take all the way to completion, but honestly, it's a pretty monotonous process, and it really isn't all that rewarding for us considering we're at the end of our adventure. If it was earlier on in the adventure, I'd definitely recommend making use of it, but honestly, I never really felt the need to, and I like how some people are in here screaming yokai right here. Oh, if only you knew, Game Freak. Anyway, what you can do here is you can stop these passerby to either have them open up shops in this area, or you can have them go patronize shops, which will help level up the shops and the avenue, and you can get lots of really cool rewards in here, but I'm pretty sure nothing has changed from the original Black 2 and White 2 games, so again, just another thing I'm pointing out. Alrighty, here we are in Nimbasa City. I believe I already discussed this little Battle Institute thing right here, and I believe I also discussed how the courts and the musical and things like this work in this game. Of course, I'm not going to be covering the musical or anything like that, as I've already explained, but anyway, in this building, we have the Battle Subway, which I believe I also discussed in a little bit of detail. Basically what this is this is the Battle Tower for older fans of the series, or the Battle Mason for newer fans of the series. Basically what you can do is you can go in these trains and enter in battle competitions where you don't gain experience or level up or anything like that. You instead earn battle points, which you can exchange in this area for various prizes and things like that. There are singles, doubles, and multis, and harder variations of each. You can face against a boss trainer, who I believe we met earlier in the series. After 3 rounds in the normal levels and after 7 rounds in the more difficult levels, if I'm not mistaken. Once again, I'm pretty sure this feature is completely unchanged from the original Black 2 and White 2, and I am just here to point it out. Also here in Nimbaza City, I might as well point out that lost item sub-quest that we did a lot earlier in the LP. Now, we did not do that quest to completion, and the main reason for that is it is very tedious. Basically what you do is you give Yancey or Curtis, if you're playing as a female, a whole bunch of phone calls, I don't know how many, and eventually they will spawn in this area where they will be willing to trade lots and lots of Pokemon with you. Once again, this feature is completely unchanged from the original Black and White 2, but it is a nice little added feature where you can do a bunch of trades for Pokemon that you might not get a hold of otherwise, which I think is good to note. Along a very similar note, I'm also going to be talking about the Pokemon World Tournament briefly, because what this area is it allows you to enter tournament competitions a la the Battle Dome in Pokemon Emerald, except you can enter them against all of the past gym leaders and all of the past champions. Unfortunately, the Elite Four got the shaft, and I hope the next time this feature shows up, and I hope it does, the Elite Four also make an appearance in here. Once again, this feature is completely unchanged from the original Black 2 and White 2, but it's definitely worth pointing out because this is one of the most iconic features of this game, and I feel like it would be a disservice to not at least mention it right here. You will also earn battle points for competing in this area, and it is worth noting, any technical machines specifically that I don't obtain over the course of the series, unless I happen to have forgotten one, which I highly doubt I have, all of the rest of them are obtained through exchanging battle points at places like the Battle Subway and the Pokemon World Tournament. Anyway, with that, off to the next stop. Alrighty, we are up here in Osiris City next to talk about the fact that, as you can see, it is still autumn in the game, and unfortunately the LP is not going to be going into the winter months, which means anything in the post-game that is winter exclusive, we're not actually going to be doing. First things first, in winter, there is a house in Osiris City that you can access that you could not at any other time, and inside will be a guy that will play the music for Route 10, which is a route that does not appear in Black 2 or White 2, which is pretty neat. I really like that song, and I'm glad that they found a way to stick it in here, even if the route itself is gone. In addition to that, up here at the Dragon Spiral Tower, in the winter, you will be able to access that upper cliffside right there, and that item ball up there contains a Nevermelt Ice, if my information is correct, which is definitely something worth noting. Another thing worth noting is down to the south of the city there is the entrance to Twist Mountain, which is a dungeon that has winter-exclusive areas. Again, we're not going to be actually exploring these areas, I'm just going to be discussing them. Any portion that is only accessible through wintertime, you can find Eject Button, Rare Candy, and Big Nugget items, which are definitely worth going to check out. And there are also 2 trainers that are winter exclusive. The first one is Worker Ryan, who has a Piloswine level 76, a Jinx level 76, and a Claydol level 76. The other trainer is Veteran Zack, which has a Charizard level 84, Poliwrath level 84, Pikachu level 84, Gyarados level 84, Snorlax level 84, and Aerodactyl level 84. Again, I'm not going to be stressing out about the fact that I'm not showing this because the information is there. It's just if you are exploring the area during the winter time, that is an opportunity available to you. It's worth noting, whenever you pass through a gate after beating the Pokemon League, there will be notice of a Pokemon outbreak at a given area in the game. Basically what that means is every day in the post-game, an area will be randomly selected to have a special Pokemon that is not there normally appear with a certain degree of rarity. Now, none of these Pokemon are only obtained through this way in this hack, just because, as you can see, I've completed the Pokedex without making use of this feature. And I'm pretty sure this feature is, again, not changed from Black and White 2, so it's definitely something worth noting. Anyway, stepping out here onto Route 15, we also have this area right here. This is the Pokemon Transfer Laboratory. I believe I talked about this when we were here earlier on in the series, but I might as well restate that basically what it does is it's here to transfer in Pokemon from Generation 4. Again, I'm really not sure exactly how one would go about doing that in a hack like this, but it's definitely worth noting. And I also just have to say, the minigame in here is really stupid, and I'm really glad they adopted the Pokemon Bank in later games. Okay, here we are in Therian City. Now there's one building over here, I believe it is this one. And basically what this is this was a little feature where you could get new furniture items for Pokemon Dream World. Now again, the Dream World is completely inaccessible to us right now. I just might as well point out what this building is for because it would allow you to get furniture for your little house on the website, which I guess was a cute little feature, but I'll be honest, I never made use of it. Okay, here we are in Therian City. I want to go into the Pokemon Center really quick. Now, one girl in here, I believe it's this girl. Do you know about Gracidea flowers? Since early times in Sinnoh, people made a bouquet of Gracidea flowers to give someone to show their feelings of appreciation. You can show this girl a Fateful Encounter Shaman, and she will give you a Gracidea in order to change its form into the Sky form. Unfortunately, again, my Shaman is not a Fateful Encounter, the one that you can obtain in this game, so you'd need some hacking fancy, I guess, in order to get that to work. But another thing I want to point out is this here is actually a post-game technical machine department. I'm going to buy both of these TMs just to say that I did it, but I'm not going to be using them, and I'm pretty sure those are the last TMs we needed to obtain in the entire LP. Unless I happen to have missed one, which I hope I haven't. I don't think I have. Every single other TM is obtained through exchanging battle points, which you earn through the Battle Subway and the PWT and stuff like that, as I've already mentioned. Alrighty, last up here we have this guy. Oh, it's just you. Neither Getsis nor Chorus changed me. I guess I'm the only one who can change myself. Again, if you bring a Fateful Encounter Genesect to this guy, he will give you Shock Drive and Burn Drive, which basically will change the typing of Genesect's signature move, which is, I believe, called Technobuster. You can only get the 2 drives in this game. If you want the other 2 drives, you have to play Volt White 2 instead, or hack them in. I don't think there's any way in this hack to get all 4 drives in one game, which is a little bit unfortunate, but them's the ropes. Anyway, with that, off to our last stop. And of course, as I promised, before we're ending things off, we are going to be asking the medal guy for medals one final time. We qualify for the Unova Catcher Medal and the National Catcher Medal. I don't know why he gave us these now. Maybe we have to talk to the Professor's Juniper first. Well, aim to receive 100 medals. Well, those are the last medals we are obtaining, so with that, off to our very final stop. Alrighty. After 30 episodes of postgame nearly, we are here at the Pokemon League once again. Now, if I have forgotten anything, I do sincerely apologize, although I'll be honest, if I have forgotten anything, it's probably pretty minor, and I don't think it'll be a big deal if I forgot it, because I think I've gotten pretty much everything that I would like to cover. If there's anything like super small, like a little side quest, like a little item type thing that I just never got, odds are it's the same as it was in the original Black 2 and White 2 anyway, so I don't think it's that big of a deal that I'm skipping out on some little stuff. Anyway, we are here at the Pokemon League, and now that we have made our entire circuit around the Unova region talking about every last little thing that I might have forgotten over the years, well, it's scary to think that we've been doing this for almost a year. Next time on Pokemon Blaze Black 2, we are going to be having our true final battle here at the Pokemon League. So without further ado, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.